Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Jared glanced helplessly at her and said, "That's quite hard. I guess Mr. Riddle Sr. might have learned of something some time ago." Nicole could not help but look at him. "What do you know?" He gave her a deep contemplative look. "The Riddle family is probably the ancient houses that came before the Johnston family." Those words caused Nicole's face to turn gloomy. "What do you mean by that? Could the Riddle family, too, receive news of the distribution of the family crest?" "You'll find out soon enough." Jared looked outside, not wanting to shock her. But Nicole's mood was already in the gutter. If Grandpa found out about this, it'll be a mess back home. She looked at her local phone that had been turned off and did not even dare to turn it back on. In the evening, the Riddle family was in turmoil. Mr. Riddle Sr. suddenly fell sick after receiving some unknown shock and had been unconscious for 2 whole days now. No one knew what had happened. The doctor only knew that he had suffered a shock but had no way to rouse Mr. Riddle Sr. back up. Everyone came home and kept vigil for 2 days, but Mr. Riddle Sr. never woke up. In the hall, all 4 family households were there. Even Chloe, who was struck off the family register and chased out of the house, was called back by her family. Seeing that Miley had taken the opportunity to call Chloe back, Karen could not help but cast barbs. "Ah, I see someone who had been struck off the family register coming back here knowing that the old man might not make it. Is it so she can claim a share of her inheritance? Even if Dad survived this, he'd probably keel over the dead seeing a certain someone here." Miley could immediately tell that Karen was mocking her daughter and spat back. "You think everyone's like you, only thinking about the inheritance? Chloe is only here because she's afraid she might not be able to see her grandfather for one last time." Karen and Miley's words forced Daniel to speak out the words he had been suppressing. "Karen, Miley, Dad is only unconscious. Why the heck are you two quarreling here? These 2 women. They are so eager for Dad to die so they can split up his property." When he heard Daniel's words, Damien, too, lost his temper as he shouted at Karen and Miley. "Enough. Shut up, both of you. Are the 2 of you that oblivious to your surroundings? What are you quarreling for?" Seeing that everyone was in such turmoil, Gloria was also uneasy. She held Sean's hand anxiously as she asked, "Have you managed to get hold of your baby sister? Why isn't she back yet?" In the past, Mr. Riddle Sr. would fare much better when he saw Nicole. But this time around, they were unable to contact her. They were worried that she might not be able to make it back in time should something happen to him. Rain was also out for a trip and only came back today. When she heard that Nicole was later than them, she sneered. "Why is that brat not back yet? When Grandpa was doing okay, she stuck to him like glue. Now she's nowhere to be found when something happened to him? What a filial granddaughter she is." Hearing Nicole being mocked, Samuel spat back. "Look in the mirror, please. No matter what Nicole is up to, she's still far better as a person compared to the 2 of you who go missing for days on end." Rain, of course, did not take that retort lying down. "And now, who's the one missing? Nicole is an ungrateful brat, that's what." Just as she said that, the main door suddenly opened. Alfred immediately went to receive the guest in surprise. "Miss Nicole, you're back." When everyone heard his voice, all of them turned their heads around. A slender figure walked through the door. Even though it was only a simple ponytail, her beautiful face was still so apparent. Behind her was a handsome, imposing man. Who would it be if not Jared? When Nicole brought Jared home, Chloe, Snow, and Rain's expressions changed. Chloe's eyes were filled with jealousy and disgust, Snow's envy, and while Rain's eyes were full of disdain, they were also painted dark with jealousy. When she saw her daughter, Gloria was the first to stand up. "My goodness, Nicole. Where have you been? Why are you so late?" Nicole had only wanted to ascertain if her grandfather had learned something. Instead, she saw the entire family here the moment she stepped into the place. Being rather surprised, she asked, "Why are all of you here?" Seeing that Nicole was totally at a loss, Chloe, even when she knew she had no right to speak, could not help but say, "What? Didn't you know Grandpa had fallen ill? To think he dotes on you so much." He had favored Nicole so much that he no longer cared about her, the eldest granddaughter. Mr. Riddle Sr. did not even care that Nicole was fooling around with Jared all day. She, however, dared to put that thought into words. "Grandpa's sick." Nicole gave Jared a curious glance, thinking that he knew something she did not. Jared shrugged, indicating that he had no idea either. Nicole had no time to think and asked Alfred, "What happened?" Alfred immediately said, 2 days ago, he received a message and was so shocked he collapsed on the spot. The doctor was unable to do anything at all. "Ms. Nicole, please hurry and see to Sir." No one expected Alfred to seek help from Nicole. Karen immediately snorted. "Alfred, are you senile or something? She's no doctor. What are you doing getting her to see to him?" Alfred knew how skilled Nicole was in her medical practice and rolled his eyes at Karen with an icy look. "Ma'am, don't you know Miss Nicole is extremely skilled in medicine? Back then, when Sir got sick, she treated him and prescribed him his medication. Nicole even did his surgery. It was just that Mr. Riddle Sr. had instructed him not to say anything about it. Otherwise, he would have told them everything." No one had expected Nicole to know medicine. The fact blindsided the entire family. Preston, who was busy gaming on his phone, had seen Nicole's medical skills at play. He put away his phone and said to Nicole, "Hurry up and see to Grandpa. If you cannot wake him up, I fear the worst for him." Preston's words shocked everyone. Daniel, Gloria, and their sons looked at each other with visible confusion on their faces. None of them knew that Nicole knew medicine. Moreover, from Preston's tone, it sounded like she was very skilled in it. If she cannot do anything, then is Grandpa really done for? Karen gave Dylan an incredulous look. Fearing being outdone, Dylan rumbled, "Let's follow her." Everyone then hurried upstairs behind Nicole. Jared was not flustered. Knowing that the Riddles probably had plenty to talk about, he did not rush upstairs and instead sat down to have a cup of coffee first. Upstairs, Nicole looked at Mr. Riddle Sr.'s monitoring equipment and consultation report. She read the report silently and looked so professional that everyone else was dumbstruck. Rain just had to mock her. "Well? Can you actually understand that? Stop play-acting there already. She is just a high school student. What sort of medical skills can she have?" Preston rolled his eyes at his foolish sister, watching her getting humiliated. "Nicole, how's Grandpa?" Preston whispered. Nicole handed the report over to him, saying, "He's fine. Just suffered a shock." The news she gave Grandpa really shocked him. She was actually very surprised. The Riddle family was no longer considered a very prestigious family in San Giotto, much less a member of the Holy Union. So it was natural for the older man to be shocked when he learned that she was the crest bearer. When Rain and Snow heard what she said, they thought she was spouting nonsense. Even when Nicole was the one who found her diamond, Snow still could not help but say, "The doctor has already diagnosed that. Everyone knows that Grandpa had suffered a shock." Rain immediately followed out. Yeah. You may as well be saying nothing at all." Nicole could not bear it any longer and shot her a sharp glance. Rain was so startled by her aura that she bit her tongue and almost cried out in pain. Ignoring the two sisters, Nicole took off the beacon and put it on Mr. Riddle Sr. No one had seen that new device before, and Dexter asked with some concern, "Nicole, what is that? Will it have any side effects?" Nicole glanced at Dexter and said, "Don't worry, Uncle Dexter. This is Martin's new medical device. It could quickly help a person to recover." When he heard Martin's name, Dexter immediately fell silent while everyone else was surprised. Martin was Sebastian Wyant's son, and he was a medical researcher. There was word that he and Jared had invested in a company called The Beacon and was selling a medical device with the same name. It was said that the domestic demand outstripped the supply. Even when the Riddle family had paid money to get in line, they still had yet to receive the product. They also did not expect that Nicole would get her hands on it first. Nicole and Jared's relationship aside, to think she was also so close to Martin. No wonder Mr. Wyance took so much care of Nicole every time he came to the Riddles' residence. Upon seeing this scene, Snow and Rain were even more jealous. That was not just it. Nicole took out a pack of needles she had carried with her and deftly struck a few needles into Mr. Riddle Sr.'s head. Everyone was stunned by seeing Nicole treating Mr. Riddle Sr. using the needle technique. Damien was a little nervous. "Nicole, you know alternative medicine as well?" He thought that she knew modern medicine when she read the report earlier. But to think that she knew alternative medicine as well? Miley asked the question in her stead. Can traditional medicine work? Is it reliable? Preston glanced at them and said, Nicole's well-versed in modern and traditional medicine. Stop worrying so much. All these people just loved to worry for nothing. Seeing her son defending Nicole so confidently, Karen dared not say anything despite her anger, fearing being humiliated again later. Chloe still refused to relent. How skilled can a high school student be? If anything happens to Grandpa, I'll see how you deal with it. After hearing Nicole getting mocked despite helping, Steve could no longer hold back. Even if anything were to happen to Grandpa, it's the matter of the Riddles. A person who had been struck off the family register should just keep her mouth shut. Steve's words pierced into Chloe's pain point, and her face turned pale. What did you say? Spencer also did not hold back. You heard what he said. Or have you no grasp of the shameless things you've done in the past? A conniving person like her who would frame her family member should not be showing herself before Grandpa. Seeing that a quarrel was about to ensue, Emma quickly chimed in. Calm down, all of you. Don't disturb Grandpa's rest. Only then did Chloe shut up. But in her heart, she hoped that something would happen to her grandfather so that it could embarrass Nicole. Yet, somehow that royally backfired as 2 to 3 minutes later, Mr. Riddle Sr.'s eyes twitched. Samuel was the first to react. Grandpa's eyes are moving. When Daniel saw that, he immediately came to the bedside. Dad? You're awake. Damien and Dylan, too, hurried to the bedside. Nicole, however, hissed. Grandpa had just woken up. Surrounding him like this is bad for his breathing. Both Damien and Dylan felt embarrassed and quietly took a few steps back. At this moment, Mr. Riddle Sr. finally slowly opened his eyes. Seeing that everyone was back, he could not help but feel a little dazed. He only remembered that he had read a message and lost consciousness soon after that. Recalling that message, he immediately remembered something and quickly looked for Nicole in the crowd. Nicole. His hoarse voice called out. Everyone was taken aback. Mr. Riddle Sr. was not only conscious now, but he could also speak. Nicole's medical skills were indeed amazing. The earlier doctor said there was no other way left. And yet, she managed to do it. Chloe's expression was bitter and lined with jealousy. She had been away for so long, and Grandpa had never once given her a call. After his reawakening, the first person he called out was Nicole. What sort of charm did Nicole cast on Grandpa for him to treat her like this? But now that the older man was awake, she could only pretend to be invisible. She feared that if he were to discover her presence, he would have her chased out of the house. Nicole then brought a cup of water for Mr. Riddle Sr. Take a sip, Grandpa. Seeing Nicole being such a filial girl, Mr. Riddle Sr. got up with the help of Alfred and drank a sip. With Mr. Riddle Sr. awake, Nicole plucked out the needles on his forehead. How do you feel, Grandpa? Do you feel dizzy? It was a pressure point to force one's reawakening. As a result, there may be some discomfort that will follow. I'm fine, I'm fine. You, on the other hand. Mr. Riddle Sr. looked at Nicole with a concerned look on his face. I got a message. Grandpa, let's put that matter aside first. We'll talk about it alone after you've recovered. There were way too many people around. She did not want so many to know about that matter. Upon hearing what Nicole said, Mr. Riddle Sr. immediately knew that she wanted to keep it a secret from the family. But that also gave him the answer he needed. The name on the message he received was not a person who happened to share the same name as his granddaughter. It could be his granddaughter herself. His heart thumped, and Mr. Riddle Sr.'s expression turned solemn. Seemingly noticing that Mr. Riddle Sr. was still worried about something, Nicole added, "Grandpa, don't worry. Jared's here to protect me, and I also have my own backing. Things will be fine, and I promise to protect everyone in the Riddle family." Nicole looked at Mr. Riddle Sr. resolutely, giving him the reassurance he sought. Mr. Riddle Sr. suddenly understood everything now. He could not help but pat Nicole on her shoulder. "The Riddle family will be relying on you from now on." At this age, his body could no longer withstand any more shocks. Nicole's current position was no longer the same as in the past. Now, the entire Riddle family depended on her. The exchange between Nicole and Mr. Riddle Sr. confused everyone. What did the old man mean by that? What did he mean by handing the Riddle family to Nicole? Nicole's response was even stranger, claiming that she would protect everyone in the Riddle family. What ability does she have to protect the Riddle family? Moreover, even if the Riddle family were no longer as powerful as before, they were still a prestigious old family of San Giotto. So who would do them harm? Yet no one dared to ask Mr. Riddle Sr. those questions. They could only wait until after Mr. Riddle Sr. had closed his eyes to rest. So they had gone downstairs before they questioned Nicole. Dylan was the first to lose his composure. He had been pondering Mr. Riddle Sr.'s words, seriously suspecting that the older man had handed Nicole something very important. Just as he entered the hall, he turned around to question Nicole without taking a seat. "What did your grandpa mean by that? Why is he leaving the Riddle family to you? Did you take something from him that you shouldn't?" The older man had never disclosed how he would divide the family's properties. Now that Daniel had Nicole and 5 other sons behind him, the older man favored him more and more while he was favored less and less. So now he suspected Nicole had swindled most of the property for herself. Nicole could tell what Dylan was thinking just by looking at him and sniggered, "What the Riddle family has isn't worth me eyeing them. I will eye the Johnstons if I want to eye something." As she said that, Nicole sat beside Jared with a haughty air. Jared looked at Nicole's relaxed face and was not even angry. Instead, he felt very amused by what she had just said. When Chloe heard that, she immediately turned to Jared. "Mr. Jared, you heard that? Someone here's getting close to you just for your wealth." Jared did not even look at Chloe as he put down his coffee and hugged Nicole. "She doesn't have to eye my wealth. Even I'm hers. What she wants, I shall give." When such cheesy words came out of his mouth before everyone, Nicole suddenly had goosebumps. Chloe, Snow, and Rain cast a jealous look over Nicole. All of these should have been Chloe's, but it was taken away by this stray mutt from nowhere. Spencer could not help but snigger as he looked at Dylan. "Did you all hear that? With my brother-in-law here, why would my baby sister even care about what little we have? Uncle Dylan, stop projecting yourself onto her." Karen was displeased seeing her husband being dissed. "Daniel, what sort of upbringing is this? Trying to lecture your elders?" When Nicole heard Karen scolding Daniel, she said icily, "You should be looking at yourself in the mirror. You said nothing when Snow and Rain were causing a ruckus in Grandpa's room. Now you presume to lecture another family on upbringing. You." Karen's face was flushed red in anger. Snow and Rain wanted to say something, but Damien, seeing the chaos in the house, stood up. "Silence, all of you. Let's get back to business. We just want to know why Dad would say that to Nicole." Nicole could see that Damien was worried about the inheritance and so glanced at Jared, using him as an excuse. "What else? The Riddle family will be relying on the patronage of the Johnston family from now on. If not me, who else should Grandpa say that to?" Jared did not mind being used by Nicole as a shield. On the contrary, he felt good that this young woman relied on him instead. But what Nicole said turned everyone else's expression sour. All of the men in the family could not be relied upon to make the Riddle family flourish. Only through Nicole being together with Jared the family started to prosper. Be it Chloe, Snow, or Rain, neither of them was able to get involved with any top figures. Instead, all of them looked like they had their tongues tied as words failed them. Dexter then let out a sigh. "Dad has his reasons. Since he's fine now, let's return." Being around his brothers and sisters-in-law for the past few days really exhausted him. "Yeah. Mom hasn't been resting well for the past few days, so we'll go first," said Ella, giving Nicole a somewhat apologetic glance. Nicole nodded. "Ella, take Uncle Dexter and Aunt Emma back to rest. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Grandpa." "All right." Ella glanced at Emery, who had always been the quiet one, as the two left with their parents. Karen wanted to say something else, but Dylan, noticing Damien's grumpy look, could only leave with her, Preston, Snow, and Rain in tow. Preston even smiled at Nicole before he left as if to welcome her home. After seeing them off, Nicole looked at Damien. "Uncle Damien, are you staying behind to take care of Grandpa?" Being questioned like that, Damien felt a little miffed. He was, after all, older. No younger generation should be asking if he was coming or going. But when he recalled how Mr. Riddle Sr. had treated her specially, he dared not run his mouth. Instead, he decided to go home and investigate the matter. "No. Since you do no medicine, your grandpa should be under your care. Just make sure nothing goes wrong." Damien narrowed his eyes slightly at her. Nicole could tell that he was applying pressure on her. He was implying that she would bear all responsibilities should there be any issues. Yet, she was unperturbed and only smiled. "Don't worry, Uncle Damien. I was the one who operated on Grandpa back then. This small issue won't cause any trouble." Her words stunned both Karen and Damien. They recalled the time the old man was taken away by Nicole for an operation, but no one knew that the operation was done by her. Are Nicole's medical skills really that amazing? At that moment, Damien realized that Nicole was not as simple as he thought. This girl. There are probably secrets to her. The jealousy in Chloe's eyes was like razors, but before Jared's imposing aura, she dared not speak up. She was also curious about what other secrets Nicole was hiding. How is she so skilled in medicine? Who the hell is she? Seeing that her parents were still standing there, Chloe went up to them and said, "Mom, Dad, the car is ready. Let's go home." Karen was pissed off but could not vent her anger, so she glanced at Everett before leaving. Damien nodded as he left. Chloe rolled her eyes at Everett before following behind her parents. Seeing how Everett's position in the family had always been so low, Nicole raised her eyebrows. She wondered what Uncle Damien and Aunt Karen were thinking, putting all their focus on Chloe. In her opinion, Everett was the shrewd, brilliant one. After everyone left, Alfred walked over to Nicole and said, "It's all thanks to you today, Miss Nicole. Or else, heaven knows when Mr. Riddle Sr. would wake up." Nicole comforted the somewhat excited butler and said, "It's fine. Grandpa's recovering well. He suffered a big shock this time. He'll be fine after a few days' rest." "That's good to hear. I'll go look after him now." Alfred wiped the tears at the edge of his eyes, bidding Daniel's family farewell before heading upstairs. Samuel could no longer hold his excitement and sat beside his sister. "Nicole, when did you get so good at medicine? You were the one who operated on Grandpa as well." This baby sister of his was just too amazing. She was not only physically superb and skilled in martial arts. She even had medical knowledge. She was among the best in school, with everything within her grasp. Was there anything she could not do? Forget Samuel. Even Daniel, Gloria, Sean, and Steve were surprised. "Nicole, you sure hide your skills way up your sleeves." Stanley had kept quiet this whole time, but now he voiced his shock. "I know, right? You sure made us proud, baby sis." Recalling the expressions of Chloe and her family when Nicole woke Grandpa, Spencer also felt elated. Seeing Nicole's silence, Sean said, all right. You all talk so much that Nicole can't get a word in." Both Spencer and Samuel immediately shut up as the entire family gave Nicole an expectant look. Nicole was in a conundrum, not knowing where to even begin explaining. So, she glanced at Jared. Yet, he gave her an indifferent look before picking up his coffee, indicating that she should settle this herself. Nicole sighed as she tried to simplify things. "The only entertainment I had back in the village was reading, so I've read plenty of books on modern and alternative medicine. Then I was taken under the wing of a physician and learned his skills." At her words, Jared grinned to himself. There was nothing wrong with what she said after all. But no one knew that her master was James Dade, and he was the internationally famed physician, nicknamed the Ghost Hand. Nicole was considerate to her family members, fearing that she would scare them if she told them the truth. So she avoided all of the heavy stuff. That was why Damien, Dylan, and their families were so disrespectful toward Nicole. Jared looked forward to seeing their expressions when they found out who she really was. The brothers were waiting for Nicole to surprise them with an extraordinary twist to the story. But when Nicole stopped talking, they looked at each other. Just like that. Steve raised his eyebrows, feeling that things were more complex than she described. Just like that. Nicole was resolute with her answer, her expression impassive. The others did not protest. Daniel knew Nicole's demure nature, and she obviously did not want to elaborate further. Looking at the time and seeing Gloria's rather gaunt look from being anxious for the past 2 days, he said, "No matter what, Nicole got Grandpa back up, so let's not add to her troubles here. Let's take Mom home to rest." Gloria was not ready to go. "I'm fine. I just want to spend more time with Nicole." She really did miss her daughter. Seeing how pale Gloria was, Nicole grabbed her mother's hand and read her pulse. "Dad, let Mom rest at home for a few days. She's been anxious for the past few days. I'll prescribe her some medicine. She'll be better once she takes them." Hearing that, Daniel nodded. "All right, I'll stay back to take care of your mom and grandfather." When Sean saw that both his parents would stay, he whispered to his father, "Then Mom, Dad, just rest up here. I'll see to the company. Don't you worry." "All right, go home then. You don't have to worry about us here," Daniel told his sons. Samuel, however, looked disappointed. "I want to stay too and chat more with Nicole." Immediately, Spencer pulled his ear. "You talk way too much. Let's not disturb her. Come on, let's go." Stanley and Steve could only stand up and say to Nicole, "We'll be heading off then." "Wait." Seeing that her family members were about to leave, Nicole suddenly turned towards Jared. "Where's that stuff?" Jared eyed the coffee table. Max had already delivered the thing over when he had coffee downstairs earlier. Nicole immediately opened the box and found 7 watches of different exquisite designs. Daniel gave Nicole a perplexed look. "These are..." She then said with a solemn look on her face, "We have to listen to Grandpa. Be it you, Dad, or Mom, or the rest of you, be careful when you're out and about. If you ever find yourself being followed or in danger, press the black button on the watch to contact me and the white button to secretly send your current coordinates." When she was on the plane, she made a tracking and communication system similar to that on her watch. She then got Jared to ask Max to upload them into the digital watches so she could contact her family. Looking at such advanced gadgets, both Samuel and Spencer's eyes widened in amazement. "Whoa! This is so high-tech." Sean rolled his eyes at the two. He could tell something was not right. "Nicole, is our family in trouble or something? If it's not that, why else would Grandpa say stuff like that? And why would Nicole give us these to protect us?" Nicole paused for a moment, but chose not to tell him. "Just in case. I hope it's just me overthinking things." Seeing that his little sister was unwilling to tell them, Steve gave Sean a wink and decided to investigate the matter himself. Stanley did not speak and chose to believe Nicole unconditionally. He took the watch and put it on his wrist. "Don't worry. We know how to take care of ourselves, but you..." She was just a girl, and that worried them the most. Then, Jared slowly said, "Don't worry. I'll take good care of her." Seeing Jared speak up, the Riddle brothers set their worries aside. After all, Jared was far more capable than any of them, and since he had already said that, what was there for them to worry about? "We'll be going then." Sean and Steve put on the watches as they left the other 3 brothers. Jared could tell that Nicole was still concerned, so he leaned over and whispered to her, "Relax. I've already sent men to guard them in secret." Nicole nodded. Knowing how meticulous Jared was, he probably had sent people to secretly guard her other uncles as well. It sure is reassuring with him around. After everyone had left, Nicole brought Gloria to her room to rest. She accompanied her mother for a while before the latter fell asleep. When Daniel escorted Nicole out of the room, he finally asked the question he had been holding back on. "Nicole, what's the secret between you and Grandpa? Can't you tell me?" Nicole knew that her father would figure something out, but for now, she did not want to add to his troubles. Smiling, Nicole said, "Dad, I'll tell you when the time's right, but it's not now." It will not be too late for her to tell them everything after she cut herself off from the system. She did not want Daniel to worry too much about her. Daniel could sense his daughter's train of thought, so he nodded. "If that's the case, I'll respect your decision. Tell me when the time is right then." Nicole nodded and watched as Daniel returned to his room. She let out a sigh of relief and then went downstairs. To her surprise, she found Jared sitting there. "Why are you still here? Shouldn't you be back in the hospital? This guy, does he think he's fully recovered?" Jared rolled up his sleeve, revealing the medical instrument on his arm. The beacon. When did he get his hands on this? She wondered. "Yeah. Otherwise, how do you think I managed to stay alert by your bedside for the past 2 days?" This was also why he immediately redirected the beacon delivery from the home country to Lanningborg. He was no fool, after all. "Why didn't you tell me you had it with you?" This asshole had her worrying over him. "Elle thought of telling you after I'm better, but now looks like a good time." As he said that, he reached out to take the instrument off. Nicole, however, stopped him. "Keep it on for a while longer. Your health is important." Having his fingers touched by her, Jared smiled cheekily. "All right, whatever you say, ma'am." Only then did Nicole realize that she had tugged his hand. Her cheeks turned slightly red, and just as she was about to let go, Jared pulled her over and put her on his lap. "Everything is already arranged. I can finally rest now. Arrange a room for me." He had almost lost her for good this time, and now he did not want to be separated from her for a single moment. "You want to stay here? This jerk actually wants to stay in the Riddle residence. Why can't I?" Jared raised his eyebrow. "Of course not." Nicole was flustered. "We're only engaged. How can you stay here?" It would have been fine if it was her own place, but this was her grandfather's house, and with both her parents here, how could she allow him to stay here? Seeing Nicole's overreaction, Jared put a helpless look on his face. "Why not? If you don't agree, I can ask Mr. Riddle Sr." Thinking of how the old man wanted him to hurry up and marry Nicole, he was sure Mr. Riddle Sr. would not refuse him. "Don't you go disturb Grandpa." Mr. Riddle Sr. was asleep now. How could Jared be like this? "So you agree then?" He raised his eyebrow with a cheeky look that said, "If you don't agree, I'll ask the old man immediately." Nicole was at a loss and could only grit her teeth as she hissed, "Fine, you win." She then called one of the servants over. "Please arrange a guest room for Mr. Jared." Jared looked at the servant and added, "I want the room next to Miss Nicole's." The servant was slightly taken aback but then nodded, giving a knowing look. "Yes, sir. I'll go prepare the room right away." Seeing the servant's face, Nicole turned around and glared at Jared. "You did that on purpose?" For him to embarrass her before the servants like this, he was growing a lot of nerve. "I'm tired. I'll go and take a rest." As he said that, Jared suddenly swept Nicole off her feet and carried her in his arms. "Rest if you want to. Why are you carrying me?" Nicole yelped. Jared showed a wry smile. "You need a good rest too. You're also a patient, so you have to listen to me." "You." Nicole was flustered, but seeing all the servants looking over, she was so embarrassed she could not say a word. She allowed Jared to carry her upstairs in front of everyone and let him take her into her room. The night slowly rolled in peacefully. The Fisher family was listening to their assistant's report in annoyance. Mr. Johnston went abroad right after he woke up from his coma. He went to fetch Nicole. He's staying at the Riddle's residence tonight. This bastard, Jared. He barely spared me a glance after he woke up. Instead, he turned to talk to his grandfather. On top of that, he left the country to find Nicole despite knowing his physical condition was terrible. I've been waiting for him at home. The first person he saw when he woke up was me, and it was me who took care of him the entire time. Nicole didn't even care for him when he was bedridden. I thought Jared went after Nicole to ask her why and break up with her, but I didn't expect him to bring her back here. And to even stay at her family's residence afterward. All my hard work went to waste. Filled with hatred, Fiorella gritted her teeth as she thought of the two of them staying at the Riddle residence. Her hands clenched so hard that her fingernails made indents on her palm. God damn it, Nicole. What kind of love spell did you cast on Jared? Our Fisher family is far more powerful than the Riddle family. Why did he choose her over me? Do I have to make Nicole disappear to make him notice me? Fiorella's hatred towards Nicole grew tremendously in her heart. Why am I not as good as her? Her eyes turned dark as she thought about it. Go send some people to keep an eye on her. If you get the chance, go and teach her a lesson. She needs to learn how difficult it is to be Jared's woman. Yes, ma'am. The assistant turned and left. As soon as he did, the housekeeper knocked on her door. Miss Fisher, Mr. Fisher has just arrived from the Fisher residence and is requesting you and Mrs. Fisher to go downstairs. Okay. Fiorella looked at her watch. It's 9 o'clock. He's usually resting at this hour. Why did he come home so late and request us to head downstairs? Fiorella felt a little suspicious of her father's actions. Yet, she put it on her coat and walked downstairs. Downstairs, Mrs. Fisher was already there. She seemed to have heard unexpected news. What did you say? Are you sure you didn't get it wrong? Mrs. Fisher looked shocked. Fiorella, who saw her mother's surprised expression, quickly hurried. Mom, Dad, what happened? Mrs. Fisher saw Fiorella coming down the stairs and said in a depressed tone, Ask your father. Your grandfather had asked us to visit a family who is no longer useful to us. If word spreads, wouldn't we look ridiculous? Hearing this, Fiorella could not help being suspicious of the motive. Dad, who did Grandpa ask us to visit? Mr. Fisher glanced at Fiorella and said coldly, The Riddle family. Upon hearing the name, Fiorella froze. The Riddle family? Wouldn't that be? Is the Riddle family the one whose daughter married into the Johnston family? Nick Fisher's expression stiffened as soon as the words left Fiorella's mouth. You know of them? Fiorella's eyes were cold. Not only do I know of the Riddle family, but I am very familiar with the one that stole Jared's heart from me. Both Mr. and Mrs. Fisher immediately understood. They were aware that their daughter had always been an arrogant person. She barely took an interest in those who pursued her, and there was only one person she was passionately interested in. It could only be the one and only Jared Johnston.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.